Camera's rolling. Didn't notice that. Sometimes it takes a few seconds to start and I don't notice. That was one such time. Welcome back to The Daily Life on YouTube. I'm your host and the star of The Daily Life, Tom Johnson. Today is Thursday, January the 30th, 2014, and I welcome you to another fun-filled 10 minutes of your life and mine on The Daily Life. What am I talking about today? Neighbors. As I consult my list. Oh yeah, I remember I told you yesterday. Now, this is a topic which I will have absolutely, positively, 100% guaranteed no trouble in filling the 10 minutes that I allot myself for these shows. But I'm not going to fill it all because I want to do up another button and see if it looks better. It looks alright. You prefer with more buttons done up? Or less? If you're a man, you probably prefer more. If you're a woman, you probably still prefer more. Lame joke, I know, I'm sorry. Okay. So neighbors. Lots of things to say about neighbors. First thing I want to say is the difference between different kinds of neighbors. If you live in a single-family detached home, your situation with neighbors is probably very different than you live in a big apartment block. Now, I've had experience with living in both, and I can tell you I prefer the former, not the latter. The latter you hear too much of. The former you don't hear as much of, and they can be better friends. Studies have shown that neighbors in big apartment buildings are less likely to know each other. And this could just be because in big cities, you don't have that small town atmosphere, and it's impossible. I mean, hundreds of people live in the building that I live in, and it would be impossible to know everybody well enough to. And nor do I want to know everybody because some people are just mean, and I don't. This is a big city. There's over 1 million people, and depending on where you live, there could be more than 1 million people in your city. That's not very likely because most people live in medium-sized towns. But nevertheless, it's possible. And if you live in Canada, you probably do live in a big city because I think 85% of Canadians live in the top 6 or 7 cities. So if you're watching from where I'm from, and there's a good chance you are watching from there, you know what I'm talking about. Well, now that I've discussed urban geography with you, neighbors. So if you're in a small town, neighbors are friendly. You have barbecues with them. You get a cup of sugar, you go over to their house, and you're like, hey, can I have a cup of sugar? Could use a cup of sugar, or a quart of milk, or a couple of eggs, or a loaf of bread. That's the kind of thing that happens in small towns. In big towns, you go knock on your neighbor's door and ask for a cup of flour or sugar or whatever you have. And your neighbor will look at you like, who the hell are you? I'm just a random person asking me if I would mind giving you some of my food which I bought with my hard-earned money. Like, you can get off of my doorstep, please. Well, that would be mean. I personally would not engage in such behavior. There's a lot of big city types that would. I'm not a big city type by nature. I'm born in a small town, and I have roots in my small town. I'm not going to tell you where I was born because it is a small town, and I don't want you finding out that kind of information. Did a little French thing there. I don't know what this was. Was it Twitter? Is this Twitter? This is what Twitter... Now, when they used to say tweets, this is what a tweet was. It was a bird tweeting. Now it's people typing. How times change. They really do. I remember when people used to have faces on their head, believe it or not. Now people have a face in a book. And when I say a book, I don't mean a book like this. That's not what I mean. I mean a book like this. This used to be a book. You can see the pages. It's got a cover page. It's got a back page. Lots of information. This is what a book used to be. And this is what a face used to be. And now both of them are that. Wow, that's pretty cool. Never done that before. Get it right. Look, there I am. That's pretty interesting, wasn't it? But yeah. So the way people contact each other is changing, and it's affected the way neighbors are too. There's no doubt about that. It's just true. If you think it's not, that's interesting. You're wrong. You're entitled to your opinion, but it is wrong. Now, I have only done 6 minutes, and I did have other things to say. I've just forgotten them. So why don't you go get a drink while I'm trying to remember them? I'll give you 15 or so seconds to go get your drink. Okay? Set the timer now. There's 15 seconds or thereabouts. Did you get your drink? What did you get to drink? A cup of coffee, lemonade, alcoholic beverage? Well, whatever you're drinking tonight, give me some. I'm just kidding. I was going to make a comment, but it's not family appropriate, so I'm not going to make it. Now, the one advantage of living in a big building is that you can have lots of friends that live around you, and you literally don't have to commute. Like if I want to go see some of my friends that live in this building, I just have to go up 10 floors, or 5 floors, or down 3 floors, or wherever they live. I don't even have to get dressed. Don't have to put shoes on. You don't have to do anything. And that really helps a lot. That's a benefit of living in an apartment. If you live in a rural area, you have to have a car. Sometimes neighbors will lend their cars out to each other, or yard equipment. One dispute the neighbors have if you live in a rural area, a rural region, is lawn stuff. Goodness me, there is a lot of disputes that occur over like fencing and lawn stuff. I mean, it gets ridiculous. You know, it simply does. People say, "Can I borrow your shears?" And they never give them back. And then it creates this animosity between the neighbors because Joe has the shears and they're Bob's shears, and now Bob is pissed off at Joe because Joe didn't return the shears, and now he's over there asking for his rake. And Bob says to Joe, "You know, I gave you my shears 3 months ago in May. It's August now, and I still don't have them back. And look at those hedges. Now, those hedges are ugly because you didn't give me my damn shears back, and now you want me to give you your rake? Get off my property, man." And then Joe will be like, "Oh, gee, I forgot about the shears. They're in my garage, or they're in my tool shed. Let me go get the shears." Hey, and now Bob has his shears. Then so Joe's like, "So can I borrow the rake?" Bob does one of these. He goes, "Joe, for God's sakes, you had my shears for 3 months. It's almost the fall. It's August. If I lend you my rake 3 months from now, September, October, November, that's all fall basically. I'm not gonna have a rake all fall. Go ask Tim across the street for a rake." And that's the kind of thing that happens in that little scene that I just recreated to you with 3 people, named them generic names: Jim, Bob, and Tim. No, Joe, Bob, and Tim. Right. Okay, well, I've run out of time, so you can finish that scene however you want. Maybe they get their wives together and they all have a ellipses. I'm really going to let you finish that show because this is a family program. We'll be back tomorrow. The topic's award shows. Have a great evening. I'm Tom Johnson, host of Daily Life on YouTube.